All right, Keisuke. So I recently found out about this phenomenon called microchimerism, which was completely new to me, and it just got my imagination running, and I wanted to talk about it. So we've both read some articles about it, a little bit of research articles, and I want to just have a little bit of conversation.
Sounds fun.
So first of all, we should define the word. Now, when I think of chimera, I'm thinking of a Greek mythological beast.
Right.
Have you heard of this one?
Yeah. I forgot which part of the head, but the goat body and the serpent tail.
Yeah. And a lion
kind
head.
of like
Yeah.
Yeah, I do see that kind of monster a lot in tons of video games.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. Me too. From video games. So it's become a kind of a metaphor for what we see in biology,
Sure.
right? Of some kind of a body having mixed parts of different genetic origin.
Yeah.
Something like that, right? So now they've got this term microchimerism, which was a phenomenon discovered maybe sometime in, well, it was really well described by the 1990s.
Right.
But we still don't really know what it's doing in some ways. And so it's kind of like a frontier, I thought, and I wanted to talk about it.
Okay. Yeah.
Here's the main way that it happens. When the mother has a child, the mother's cells, the somatic cells, not just her germ cells, travel through the umbilical cord, through the placenta, through the umbilical cord, and the fetus receives the mother's cells.
Exactly.
And it also goes the other way.
Yeah. That's actually interesting part to me because it's sounds like reasonable to, for some cells moving from the mother to the child. Yeah, that kind of okay because like antibody or any nutrition can have to travel from the mother to the baby. Otherwise, baby cannot survive. But like backwards, like some cells can also move from the baby to the mother.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, also surprising to me.
So this was new for you?
Yeah, it's super new to me.
This isn't like a topic that they covered in your textbooks or in your education?
Yeah, I haven't heard of it. Yeah, so that's very new. So that's also fascinating. Okay, why? Of course, why does this happen? Also, okay, what is the effect on the mom?
Yeah.
Mom. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Well, maybe one reason it's not in the textbooks is they still don't really know, or maybe doesn't have that much of an effect.
Yeah.
But there's been at least a few cases that it's demonstrated to have some effect.
Right.
So one of them is that bidirectionally, the cells from the other organism don't just stay in the bloodstream, but they actually colonize all over the body. So I've got it on my notes here, but that includes going into all sorts of immune cells, whose names I forget, but it's things like NK cells and B cells and T cells. As far as I know, it's all of them. But I don't know if that's really true, but it's a whole lot. Lymphocytes, macrophages. And maybe this has to do with the idea of not rejecting a foreign body.
Right.
So that, when I read it, I thought, okay, that makes some sense. If you're carrying this fetus, you want your body to accept it.
Exactly.
And maybe some of these immune cells that comes from the fetus is communicating with your other cells and saying like, hey, just leave that thing alone. Maybe. And you mentioned that through the placenta, the mother is also sending antibodies to the fetus.
Yeah.
Well, she's also apparently5colonizing the fetus's immune cells with her own, I guess, like an education, I guess.
Yeah.
So that makes sense, I suppose. Like, does that seem like a practical use or for evolution to employ this method?
Well, I do not know a lot, but because I just curious question is that this happen also in other animal species? Because the human, maybe primates as well, we do have a more close connection in the placenta, I mean between the mom and baby part. Like blood vessels are very closely intermingled. Just the boundary is very thin layer. But for instance, ruminant, like a cow or goats or sheep, they have more like a thick borders between mother blood vessels and baby blood vessels, so that they have to, their babies have to drink colostrum after birth.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, they cannot get antibody because the antibody cannot pass through the placenta from the mom to the baby.
That's really interesting. But no, it is discovered in ruminants.
Then if like the microchimerism can also be seen in ruminant or any other animals, in that case, maybe that part, I mean, microchimerism might be contributing to the evolution of the mammals.
That seems to be the current hypothesis, that it's widespread. I mean, they still have to do a lot more testing, apparently. But one of the articles I found is it's certainly, well, I don't mean to say it certainly exists from pig mothers to pig children. I believe it does. Okay. But I know they found it in goats and cattle.
Oh, nice.
So they're assuming that it's in a lot of ones. Okay. So you would think maybe, yeah, it must have some sort of evolutionary benefit, some sort of fitness benefit. Yeah. But evolution's never that easy, is it?
Yeah.
Because there's also these issues of a correlation between an increased amount of fetal cells in the mother and an increase in conditions like rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh, autoimmune diseases, you mean?
Yeah, autoimmune diseases. Okay. Yes, yeah. Yes. There's another one that the name was new to me, but it's called systemic sclerosis. It's also called scleroderma.
Okay, yeah.
And this is where your skin gets really, really tight and you can't even move your fingers.
Yes, those diseases can be developed by autoimmune diseases, like your immune system just be too much activated and then they're gonna attack your cell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now we see that there's also, it's more likely to happen in mothers. And now we can see within the mother's group, those with higher proportions of fetal cells are more at risk. So there's a bit of a cost benefit analysis going on.
Right. Because immune regulation is very sensitive. I don't know how to say this. You have to be regulated precisely. That maybe if if the mom has too much the baby cell or children's cells, they're gonna too much activate their immune system. That's gonna be attacking your cells, the mom's cells, the tissues.
Apparently that's true, although the percentage is very low. The estimates on different papers all put it in the range of 1 foreign cell for every 500,000 to 1 million cells. Okay. But it's enough to apparently affect things, even though it's that few. And they spread all over the body. They're in your heart cells, they're in your hepatocytes, and lots of other cell types, including mother cells becoming fetus neurons.
Oh, interesting.
Isn't that sweet?
What does that mean? I mean, the mom's neuronal stem cells, or more undifferentiated cells, could move from the mom to the baby, and then that cell's gonna differentiate it to the neuron, or neurons themselves. I don't think it happens, but the neuron cell can move, travel from the mom to the baby.
Yeah, good question. I don't actually know the answer to that one.
Could be some sort of undifferentiated cells.
That's what I
otherwise
think.
Those cells cannot survive for such a, tough travel.
Like a long term. Right? Yeah, I don't think that's the theory that they're migrating from the mother's brain to there. Although that would be pretty cool.
But it's so curious, how did the researchers identify those cells from the mom? Maybe not tons of neurons were originated from their mom. for instance, that the cell have Y chromosome if the mom, had a son, or I don't know. It's pretty tough to read all the genome sequences from a single cell.
Yeah.
So that.
Well, and I think that's one reason why this research took so long to be discovered, because we needed new sequencing technologies. And I think a lot of the data is actually coming from post-mortem samples. So first of all, it had to be known that this happened. And I guess that started to be discovered when they were doing sequencing of post-mortems in the 90s or so. And they would get Y chromosomes from women, that just randomly, and think, okay, how did that happen? And it took a while to put the puzzle pieces together.
I also wonder, how did the researchers identify that Y chromosome detection was true? I mean, that might be contamination of some cells. Well, from the researchers, from some, I don't know, some DNA from other men.
Yeah.
Sample collection.
Yeah, it's a good question. I would guess that the first researchers who did it probably assumed it was contamination.
Yeah, exactly, because it's so rare. In that case, if I would do that, of course, I would think, this might be contamination.
Yeah. Right, if you have such an anomaly, you have to assume that you did some kind of experimental mistake. But if the anomalies keep on piling up, and different research groups are also reporting these anomalies, then you might have a new paradigm.
Right.
And that's kind of what excites me from sort of a philosophy of science point of view. And then even just, I would tend to think that one cell out of 500,000 doesn't do anything. So like that one cell in your baby's brain that actually comes from the mother, how much can it actually contribute? But the fact is that these do make contributions. So in a different case, there is microchimerism that comes from xenotransplantation. Well, and actually, so xenotransplantation means an organ from another animal into a human
species.
Another species. Yeah, like a pig, right? Because humans are an animal too.
Yeah.
and actually, I should even back up and say that human transplant also give their cells.
Oh, okay.
So if you get someone else's kidney, actually those kidney cells are going to transplant. They're going to transmit into the host body.
Right.
And vice versa. The host body will put some of its cells into the kidney. And of course there's risk of rejection, but also it would seem that there's something similar going on there, that there's some communication between these cells that it's trying to say not to reject it, which is fascinating. Now, one researcher is especially concerned with pig transplants, because this reminds me of a topic that we actually talked about a couple years ago, which was pig transplants in humans having some success. I think there's been 4 or 5 different organs that have been transplanted.
Heart, kidneys, maybe lung as well recently.
And they seem to be okay, but and in some cases the survival goes on for months or even, I think, for more than a year. But in at least a couple cases, it might seem like the patient has died from a porcine virus. But this commentator is saying that we shouldn't get too alarmed if we detect some porcine viruses, because there's actually these endogenous retroviruses within the pig cells. And those would be very easy to detect, I guess, and then perhaps misinterpret as being dangerous. But I mean, this is new to me. If you're getting a porcine endogenous retrovirus, do we not need to worry about that?
I have to say this, which DNA or RNA do we detect? If we detect the DNA, that might be okay, because that might be coming from the xenotransplanted cells. But if we detect a lot of RNA, in that case, RNA, which means those viruses activate transcription so that they might be doing something, because usually retroviruses, they are located in our genome as pleurovirus, I think that might be correct. But the form of DNA, so that they usually do not do tons of things because their expression is suppressed by our epigenetic system. But if you do detect RNA, which means those genes, which have to be suppressed, is actually activating. So in that case, some protein or some RNA might be doing something bad for us.
Okay, let me try to see what you're saying. If there was this endogenous retrovirus in the pig kidney or whatever it is, once it goes into your body should have the mechanism to suppress its production.
I don't know should, but we do have similar mechanisms in our cells. Like we also do have tons of ARF, like endogenous retrovirus, ERV, ARF genes. But we do have some mechanisms to suppress those gene expression. But that might be working only for our endogenous retroviruses, but that does not work for porcine retroviruses, so that the porcine retroviruses might be activated in our cells.
Does this have implications for the work that you do with doing xenografts?
Well, some sort of way, because for instance, I'm one of my research is to generate PDX model, patient-derived Xenograft model. I have this story, like when people try to generate human PDX models, like they transplant human tumor samples into the mice. Then even if those tumors are, for instance, head and neck tumor or breast cancer, but the developed tumor in mice was actually lymphoma. Oh, what's happening? So that means like humans have some retroviruses, HTLV, that can develop lymphoma, but they are suppressed in our body. So that is actually activated in mice body. So then they're gonna develop lymphoma instead of generating PDX models. So that viruses can be reactivated in a different species.
Wow. Wait, I think I'm misunderstanding something. The human lymphoma is migrating into...
No. So that human tumor tissues contain a virus like HTLV.
Oh.
That virus can transform lymphocytes to tumor cells neoplastic. So that those viruses are activated in the mouse body, and the murine lymphocytes were actually transformed to lymphoma. That's the story. But of course, HTLV1 is not retroviruses, but they are also one of the not endogenous retroviruses, just retroviruses, but they can also be suppressed in our body due to from my immune system. But I don't know, that might be due to immune regulation, because for xenotransplantation, those mice is immunosuppressed or immunodeficient, so that they do not have right immune system. But that is also the same when we receive some transplantation, even from a human, from any other species, our immune system have to be suppressed by medicine. Otherwise, our immune system is going to reject the other tissues. Right. So the risk is still, ending.
Very interesting. I want to get like a little bit imaginative. Okay, because I am a third born in my family.
Okay.
I've got an older brother and an older sister. This means it's possible, and depending on what I've read, it's likely that I actually have cells in me from my sister and my brother.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot.
Yeah.
But
very rare.
One in a million is low, but if I have 1 trillion something cells, I guess that means I have more than 1 million microchimeristic cells in me. Right?
Yeah.
And so some of those are probably from my brother and my sister. And also the research shows that they last for a long time. They found them in people's bodies after 27 years. So presumably they persist. is there any chance that that's affecting my personality or my choices in life? Like the way that my body moves, or like, and how much could that possibly do? Like, especially considering they could actually become a neuron cell. And then one more thing to add before you answer is there's the possibility that this helps the mother to have multiple children. Like there's a possibility that if she's got some of the genome from her male partner, that when she has the second or third baby, some of the genome from the male partner that's in her is going to help the subsequent fetuses to go more smoothly. Like, I think that's not proven yet, but this is what some people are thinking.
Okay. Oh, interesting story. Yeah. I don't know, for cells might affect your personality, but I don't think that a lot, because personality can be formed by environmental factors a lot. I don't know, that's just my opinion though, but well, you and your brother, your sister, of course, they have been raised, you guys were raised in the same environment with the same parents, so that I don't know, it's hard to prove that, but I don't know. But of course, if some cells coming from your brother became one of your neurons, and then those neurons or any other cells producing chemicals, so that's gonna affect your mood, your feeling, your feeling. So that might be contributing to your personality a lot compared to the cells that became your muscle or your hepatic cells or something.
Yeah, but probably just a very tiny bit.
Yeah, very tiny. I don't know, like if you have a big yard and then you want to grow lot of anything, like potatoes, just one potato came from, for instance, from your neighbor. And then just a single potato could affect entire your potato.
Okay, that's an interesting metaphor. I mean, probably not, but for the fact that maybe it's like really popular.
Okay.
Like, it's different. We got to pay more attention to this one.
Okay.
And so the interactions that it's having has like a bigger effect than its size.
Interesting. Yeah. It's outstanding, or I don't say outlier, but just the cell will be outstanding and then gonna affect something.
Maybe.
Okay. Interesting.
It also made me think that people have said in the past that after they get an organ transplant from another person, it changes their personality. And I thought, okay, that's just being fancy. Like, there's no possible way. But I don't know now. It makes me like tiny bit more open to that kind of view. That maybe you would actually bring some personality.
Well, yeah, interesting. That could be possible. Because I don't think just a single cell form our personality. Like, even if we have a neuron, like, for instance, if we collect, or if we get our neurons, like each single cell from our brain, and then just a culture in a cell culture dish, and then reform the new brain using those cells, I don't think that new brain is going to become myself.
Yeah,
that's going to be forming a completely different brain.
It's more about the connections.
Yeah.
The connectome that's there before.
Exactly.
Yeah, so from that point of view, probably the one cell has less effect than its size.
Just what our cells formed is more important than each cell. So when I read one article from the Nature recently published, at the last section, the author asked some questions to us. Okay, what is us? What is an individual? Like, we have a different genome set in our in our body. We do not have only single genome. We do have some, your mom genome or maybe your brother's genome. Okay, in that case, who are you? Because recently, like after decoding all the genome, and sequencing all the genome, we often say, well, genome sounds like yourself, like your blueprint. If you want to find a suspect, you can read the DNA sequencing from some instance or criminal area. So then you're going to identify, okay, he or she is the person who did this. But if we have multiple genome sets, okay, genome itself cannot mean who you are. So it's like a philosophical question.
Yeah.
So, how can we define an individual, like who we are?
I guess our personalities are also chimeras.
Yeah.
The influence on who I am and my motivations is such a patchwork from all the influences that I've had. And that's probably even affected the way that some of my cells have developed, because it's changed the choices that I've made, the food that I eat, and so on.
One thing that I also want to talk about a little bit, but in that article, they also talked about a little bit about our microbiota. Yeah, we're talking about like microchimerism, and then I forgot 1 out of 1 million cells.
Something like that, or 500,000.
Yeah, from your mom or maybe your brother. But we do have much more bacteria in our gut. Okay. What do you think of them? Are they a part of us, or are they just living in our environment?
Well, yeah. So it's certainly true that you have, like, orders of magnitude more microbes than you have of microchimeras cells. And I've even seen estimates that you have more microbe cells than you do human cells. So I'm also open to the idea that they're actually changing our personalities too. Yeah, that would actually make sense to me.
Because last week I read that one paper, like we had a journal club in our lab, and then they were talking about like a brain and the gut connection. Like literally, the microbiota bacteria produce lot of chemicals in our gut. That chemical is gonna affect our neuronal function or our liver function. That's gonna totally affect our mood, feeling, or sometimes the immune system. Yeah, microbiota should be one of your parts. So that's are they us?
I think that probably does have a bigger effect than what we're talking about here. I just found this so fascinating from just that it even exists. So that's why I wanted to talk about it.
Okay, yeah. Because at that time, I didn't realize, I didn't think about microbiota was part of us, but when I read the article, and then, microchimerism could throw some questions on that kind of philosophy. In that case, maybe microbiota should be treated in the same way.
Oh, yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I mean, it's a kind of like a foreign body. And if you want to use this metaphor of the chimera, I think the microbiome is an even better representation of how we are chimeras compared to this one. So, yeah, really good.